allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've verified that we do have a quorum. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. First thing we're going to talk about is routine matters. Number one, approved minutes of the executive and regular session of the August 10th, 2020 meeting.
So moved.
I'll second.
Bill makes a motion. Richard, or Dustin seconds. All those in favor, raise your hand. Action item number 2, approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Don makes a motion.
I'll second it.
Becky seconds. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Approve claims to date.
So moved.
Becky makes the motion.
Second.
Bubba seconds. All those in favor, raise your hand. I'm going to try to read all these with this mask on. Approval of personnel and ECA recommendations. Sharon Bowling, resignation from SHS custodian. Shelby Byram, new hire, BSc instructional assistant. Emma Voiles, new hire, BSc instructional assistant. Teddy Perkiser, new hire, SMS instructional assistant. Gwen Dowling, transfer from instructional assistant at SMS to art teacher at SMS. Todd Alexander, Online Lions content specialist. Liz Bundy, Online Lions content specialist. Laura Campbell, Online Lions content specialist. Stephanie Dean, Online Lions content specialist. Megan Elgin, Online Lions content specialist. Ashley Hammock, Online Lions content specialist. Lisa Nice, Online Lions content specialist. Deb Rye, Online Lions content specialist. Mark Carter, SHS detention supervisor. Haley Gross, 6th grade volleyball coach. Gwen Miller, middle school cross country coach. Carol Clodfelter, art club sponsor. Bonnie Harmon, fine arts chair. Jennifer Martin, SMS homebound instructor. Chris Mahurin, SMS homebound instructor. Lori Hazlett, SMS homebound instructor sub. Catherine Cantrell, SMS addendum specialist. Jordan Scott, BSc addendum specialist. Ann Scarlett, medical leave beginning on September 8, 2020. Eric Caldwell, BSc volunteer robotics coach. Yes.
Before we look at the motion, I got some questions about some of the positions I'm just not familiar with.
Yep.
The 8 positions, the Online Lions content specialist, what are the primary responsibilities of those individuals?
I'm going to defer it to our Online Lions coordinator, but that and the Edmonton specialists are kind of the combo package of how we're running this. Mr. Stomp, you want to give an update?
Yeah, the main function of the content specialist is to be available for the students that have tutors essentially after school. They're available for an hour every day after school for kids and parents to request a tutoring session where they can help them with specifically content. So, Mr. Alexander, for example, is there for math help, and so on with the different teachers. That's
Okay, so how does that differ from the 2?
all right. So then the other 2 are Edmonton specialists. What they do is they are part-time employees, 4 hours during the actual school day. They do a lot of the administration work, like inputting grades, assigning assignments. So, for example, Ms. Nice is the teacher at the middle school, and so she sees that kids need to do this thing, and then there's a lot of back-end work to actually assign the assignment in order to take some things off her plate so she can specialize more with interacting with the kids and their parents. Ms. Cantrell then helps out by doing the clerical work of assigning those assignments, grading those assignments when they come in, and putting them into the grade book.
Does the, and again, a lot of questions, I'm just not familiar with new creative positions here. Do the responsibilities change? So right now we're in person, although obviously we have a robust online option. Do the responsibilities of these individuals change, increase, decrease, whether we're in person completely or online? Well, when I say completely, obviously the online will always be online, but when we go online completely, do these responsibilities change?
No,
And therefore, does the rate of pay change?
No, they don't, nothing changes. They are only online people, so they don't have any responsibility to students who are traditional students, if we were to have to go back online.
These are like stipends
Stipends, yeah.
per position.
And it's $2,500 per position per semester. Did I read that correctly?
That's for the content specialist. The other ones are, I think it's
10,000 per semester.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll be using the CARES Act fund for that.
He said they'd be using the CARES Act funding for that. And our final numbers, John, on because we closed online registration, ended up being
So I think when we looked today, it was 445.
445 students.
And we projected, yeah,
So these positions were a response to that demand. We projected 100, we got 445, and these additions are, well, the two content admission specialists are to help with that demand because Ms. Nice and Ms. Malloy have more work than we anticipated, so we're trying to help with that.
And all these individuals are proficient in the online experience, I would assume?
Yeah, they're all certified teachers.
Teachers, but
Yeah.
specifically online, are they proficient in
Yeah.
on helping others with online? Okay. Okay, thank you.
And that last meeting, Ron, if you remember, we left the online registration open until that Monday because we were closing school down for a couple weeks to give people the opportunity, and then we only had like 40 additional people sign up during that weekend, and then we closed it down to come to our total number.
And just so everybody is aware, just to make sure the 445 enrollment on the online, that represents about 25% of our student population. So I mean, that's a huge, I mean, if we're looking at about 1,800 head count, that's about 25% of our student population. So that's a big number.
significant, yep.
It's,
All right, thank
it's a significant number to be going as well as it's going compared to corporations around it. So it's got some great work going there, John.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Dustin makes a motion, Bubba seconds. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Number 5, consider approval of an anonymous donation to the HSS Counseling Fund. I'm going to read all donations at one time. Number 6, consider approval of donation to BSC for a donation to Mrs. Collier's class from Donors Choose organization. The classroom project is called Let's Get Moving. Consider approval of a donation to BSC for a donation to Mrs. Bauer's class for Donors Choose organization. The classroom project is called Read About Diversity. Consider approval of a donation to BSC for a donation to Mrs. Bauer's class for Donors Choose organization. The classroom project is called A Peek Into Life Cycles.
Does anyone have any information? These are really, they sound like they're pretty cool projects. Does anybody have any information on them?
I do not, but we can find it for you and bring it to the next session if you would like.
Well, I mean.
The Donors Choose specifically?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay, absolutely.
I just say they sound pretty, I mean, they sound pretty interesting. You know, let's get moving and.
Sure.
I can get that for you back. Well, I think they sound very nice, so I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Becky makes a motion. Richard seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Comments from the audience? Everybody signed up. It's great to see you all here. We plan next board meeting to go back to inviting more of our, we used to do the Roar Awards and stuff of that nature, so we're going to get back to that following this meeting, starting next meeting. So you'll start to see more people in the crowd, intermingling, and we can give some awards to people that's due. Action items. Number 9, consider advertising for an additional appropriation for the debt service fund.
Okay, you turn to tab 13, please. And there's numbers at the bottom of the pages. I'm just going to kind of explain what the pages are as we run through. And page 1 is a timeline for the advertisement of an additional appropriation in the 2020 debt service fund. It's interesting that today I went through the very process and corrected the process for 2021 that brought us to this place today. When the description in your packet explains that when the 2018 bond issue was entered in Gateway, I did not go in and check the box under the customizing the debt funds, which I missed that, and that was my error. So we need to do an additional appropriation of $138,000. I was working on this to the end of the week last week. At that point, I was a little short at 118, but we really need 138,000, which I'm going to correct on the forms as we begin to use them. So it's a request for 138,000 additional appropriation as illustrated on page 2. This would be the advertisement in the newspaper, and it would show 138 instead of 118. And the dates in the paper, the 22nd, 24th, 29th, and the 1st. The third page is an affidavit that I will post this notice of the additional appropriation, not only in the newspaper, we'll post it in the Washington County Library, the admin building, Salem Community Schools, and Salem City Hall. The fourth page is the worksheet that we use and submit to the Department of Local Government Finance. And on line 14 of page 4, you see there's $742,000 of surplus in the debt service fund to fund the $138,000 additional appropriation. And the fourth page is the resolution which would come to the board at the October meeting after we've advertised. Again, 138 instead of 118. My apologies for working up to the end of the week and not having it correct for tonight. If we don't do an additional appropriation, you don't have to. If we don't do an additional appropriation and we overexpend the appropriations in the debt service fund, the next time the State Board of Accounts conducts an audit of the school district, they will likely find that we overexpended the appropriation, and they will cite us for that. So in order to avoid a citation from the State Board of Accounts, we simply need to do an additional appropriation, and tonight we're asking permission to begin the advertising process for that, bring it back to you in October for a public hearing, and would like for you to adopt the additional appropriation.
So, correct me if I'm right in my assumption, the 138 then would come out of the 742 surplus.
That's correct, on line 14 of page 4, yes, that's
Gotcha.
correct.
So basically just moving money.
It is. It is.
Gotcha.
So it's fair to say to Mr. Abbott's point, it's just more of an accounting request to avoid a potential citation from the state of Indiana at some point in the future.
It is. We'd like to avoid citation, yes.
But no additional monies are being requested.
No, it's just moving what's there.
I will make a motion to
Ron makes the motion.
I'll second it.
Bob seconds that. All those in favor, please raise your hand.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Items from staff. No comments? I've gotten a whole lot of comments about Mr. Opal in the elementary parking lot, how great a job you're doing volunteering, moving those cars through there, so thanks for doing that. Yeah. Non-action items. Review of budget advertisement prior to public hearing.
Yes, before we advertise the budget, and you may recall that we're doing a later advertisement this year than normal because there were issues with the gateway forms at the state level. Those have been corrected now, so we're in a good position to move forward. I wanted to let the board see what the advertising preview would be prior to it appearing in Gateway and on the school district website, and before we come back in the October meeting for the public hearing, and then on October 26th at noon in this room, have a special meeting to adopt the budget, where we will provide lunch for the board, as we said we would. But these pages are numbered as well, and the first page is a breakdown of the total budget for 2021 that we are advertising at $17,822,344, and just runs down with the education fund at $10.7 million, or 60% of the total budget, and what it is responsible for: employee salaries, instructional supplies and equipment that directly related to instruction, the staff development, special education co-op charges, Prosser vocational school charges, the debt service fund, which we just discussed, which is the lease rental payments for renovation and improvement projects that we conduct for the school district, the operations fund, which is now a combination of the capital projects fund, the old bus replacement fund, the old transportation fund, and you can see the many items that are not directly related to classroom instruction that are purchased from the operations fund. The operations fund is funded by property tax and monthly transfers from the education fund to the operations fund. Currently, we're transferring $159,165 a month from the education fund to the operations fund. And we also have the property tax monies in June and December to fund operations. And then the rainy day fund, which is going to be slightly higher in 2021. It's going to be $103,000 and change versus the $75,000 in another correction. Apologize. Page 1. Page 2, I went back and looked at and printed for you budget information from 2019, 2020, and 2021 advertised budget amounts. We're really trying to scale back. We had plenty of appropriation in 2019. We had sufficient appropriation in 2020, and I spent a good bit of time, for lack of a better word, trying to whittle back and still be able to function in 2021 what we needed to operate on the assumption, and I believe it's an accurate assumption, that funding will be challenging for public education in the next biennium, which the budget building begins this next session in the legislature. So it's a conservative look, and we're trying to be conservative with the appropriations. The debt service fund increased because of the additional appropriation you just approved. Had it been incorporated in 2020, it would have been more reflective of the 2021 amount versus the 2020 amount. So it's just That's where that difference is. So the first box is just a reflection of conservation, trying to watch what we're spending and trying to spend less or control what we're spending less. The next box are tax rates from 1920 and what we will advertise for 21. We advertise high, and we always have advertised high, and allowed, by doing so, then the Department of Local Government Finance will scale us back. We use a lower assessed value to advertise than what's been certified. The auditor's office has certified $435,938,493 for pay 2021, which is slightly down from pay 2020, $96,554. And we advertised $35,938,493 less than the certified AV for 2021. That makes a tax rate higher in the advertisement, but then the DLGF will bring that rate back down. So with, over on the far right box at the bottom, we're looking at levies for 2021, projecting a debt service levy of $795,000, and an operations levy of $2,820,201, and we've advertised higher than those levies to ensure that we get the maximum amount. I believe, based on the $435,938,493, our tax rate in 2021 will end up closer to $1.05, $0.0587, $1.06 if you round it up, compared to the $1.03 that we're at right now. So we could see a 3-cent increase in 2021 per $100 of assessed valuation. The third page, the colored page, the blue box at the top is projected revenue for the last 6 months of this year, July 1 of 20 through December 31 of 20. And then the next column is the projected revenue for calendar year 2021. The budget is an 18-month cycle beginning in on July 1 of the current year, 2020, and ending on December 31 of 2021. So we're projecting revenue, and these are projections, but I believe they're good projections. Unless some economic crisis befalls in the United States or in the state of Indiana, and I can't fully predict that. But I believe these are solid projections. For the period, the last column in the blue box, the total for that 18-month period. And the red box below are the projected expenditures. Again, I believe these are solid estimates or solid projections on our expenditures. So again, the period July to December, and then the calendar year 2021. And then over on the far right, the small blue box is again a projection, but a projection of what I believe the cash balances will be, or approximately will be, on December 31, 2021, or 18 months out. So, and the fourth page is the notice to taxpayers, which will appear on the Gateway site and on the website. School district. Again, the state provides the operations fund max levy of $2,820,201, We're advertising a little higher than that in order to ensure that we can get the maximum levy. We believe the levy for debt service would be, as I said before, $1,795,000. We're advertising $2,015,000 to ensure we get that debt service levy, the maximum. And the percentages on the far right show a pretty good change, but they're high advertisements. And they don't reflect that message, and they just reflect increase. They don't reflect that we advertise high, but that's what we're doing. We're not going to end up with 10 and 11% increases for 2021. We're going to end up with that $1.05 versus the $1.03 we currently have, and we're going to end up right at or just under the $1,795,000 for debt service, and in reality, the $2,820,201 is likely going to be reduced down to $2.3 million, courtesy of the tax cap credits. So, we're going to get stung there by $500,000 in the operations fund. So, any questions? There's no action required tonight. I just want to give you a preview before it was put on the website, before it was put into Gateway, so that you would see it. Before that interested individual in Maryville, Indiana logs on to Gateway and wants to know what's going on in Salem, Indiana through the Gateway site.
Just a quick question. I'm going to ask you to get out your crystal ball and realizing that these are projections.
Yes.
And only projections.
Yes.
But that let's call it 1.9 projected cash balance in December, at the end of December 2021, 18 months-ish.
Uh-huh.
What would be the, again, crystal ball time, the biggest contributing factor that might reduce our anticipated revenue, that therefore would then drive that number down?
Not collecting property tax that we anticipated, tuition support not being, and I've calculated this at a lower ADM than we currently have. So, if tuition support would really have to bottom out, and I don't think it'll bottom out a great deal more. Well, count days Friday, and I'm using a lower number to project these numbers. So
Tuition support being the number of
the
students.
state basic grant money from the state, yeah. So I've been conservative on these numbers, and I don't have the crystal ball like you said.
What kind of number did you project as far as
I'm using
enrollment?
I'm using 1746 for an ADM.
Okay.
Okay.
And we are receiving 100% for online,
That's my understanding.
is that correct?
Yep.
That's my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? That's a non-action item. so-
Non-action item.
Yep. Any more questions from the rest of the board on that? New board business? Superintendent's report?
I just have three things. Mentioned this a little while ago. Upcoming meetings, we're going to add some layers to this, which will be some presentations from each of our buildings, one a month, and in fact, they don't even know this yet, but we're going to get to that, talk about that at Wednesday with our admin meetings. We think we're to the point where we can begin in October recognizing our students and bringing them in small numbers with the Roar Awards and a different program with staff awards. So beginning October, we want to add those layers to our board meetings. I also want to say this is the beginning of our 5th week of school, so I know we have some tired educators sitting out in this audience. So I want to thank everything, our students, our staff, parents, community. The word unprecedented gets thrown around now like candy. These are complicated times, so thank everybody for maintaining our safety procedures so we can be in school, which is our number one priority, to have kids on campus. Giving everybody a heads up, but we're going to end board meetings from tonight moving forward to call it the positive praises. We'll throw it to Rodney here in just a second, where allow every board member an opportunity if they want to say something positive, whether about corporation, students, staff, whatever they want. They don't have to. Not trying to put anyone on the spot, but give everybody an opportunity. And then the admin team knows they've all been given a heads up, and they're been given the orders not to steal mine. So with that, Ms. Brock?
A great thing happened. We beat Brownstown Friday night. It hadn't happened in 15 years. That's one of the greatest things. Another thing I keep getting praises about is the elementary's new process of picking kids up at the end of the day is a huge deal. And but we also want to say we lost a great educator last week, Mr. Jolly, and he was a teacher here for a long time, and we gave a moment of silence for him Friday night, and he will be missed. And Ginger Morris, both, yeah. That was a week prior to that. Both were longtime teachers here. Mr. Jolly in health. I had Mrs. Morris in middle school English, and both were great teachers. Very stand-up people. You got the next positive? You got Tom?
Can I say something?
Yes.
I'm kind of new here, and I'm learning everybody and the way things run. But I've worked for governmental entities before, and I don't know if people appreciate what a blessing it is to have Dr. Thurston when you're dealing with some of these issues, and especially with the bond issuance. My level of involvement has been practically nil because everything's running so smoothly. And I don't think people, if you've not been on the ground floor of that, know locally how much our administration takes care of that you shouldn't take for granted.
Thank you.
I'm impressed. That's all I want to say.
It's a great dude, too. Any more great comments from the week?
I don't know, I
Becky.
don't want to jump in front of anybody, but I did owe that too, Tom. I think that you guys sometimes make it look easy, so therefore we don't realize what all they do. And that's absolutely, but something that, since we're on time, I'm just on the fly. There's so many great people, and I think it's, what a blessing we have been into our 5th week, and we are, taking it one day at a time. And but so hats off to everyone working hard and all that they're great and great people doing great things. But something I thought was kind of fun is Seth Perley has started that food science club, and it's been fun to watch and stay up with that because he's taught them, how to cooking the measurements and like using measurements with science, and also he just did a global food industry and showed like different foods from different countries and stuff, and that his involvement. And of course, we know he wears other hats too with the FFA, and he does a lot of things. But that just popped in my head because I was watching, he's got it on some social media things, some of the different things that they're doing, and that's just one teacher. We have several other teachers doing great things, so I'll be more prepared next month. But anyway, that was just one that I just thought was it's just great teachers and making it fun and teaching someone to cook and fun in the kitchen, and through science. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to say, Mr. Acton set unprecedented. I'd like to thank the families and all of our staff and for what we've gone through and doing an exemplary job. And, we all try to keep the kids safe and we're all working together, and I'd just like to thank everybody in the community for being part of our team.
I'll echo that with the kids. I just feel like the kids have done a great job. We've asked them to do things that they've never had to do before, with the mask and the social distancing. And, I've noticed interested in some of the ECA events that, you know, the kids are real careful about what they do and making sure they've got their mask on and making sure that they're, you know, trying to social distance. And I think, you know, with everything that's been going on, it's a testament to our staff, our kids, our parents, and, you know, hopefully we don't have to deal with this too much longer. But, you know, hats off to them for being able to adapt and still try to learn. It's tough to do, and that was just one more thing that we've added to their plate. And I think they've done a great job with it so far.
You know, the disadvantage of being the third, and these two gentlemen literally just said exactly what I wanted to say, but I will piggyback just a little bit on that. We are, and I've mentioned this before, we are in a, I hesitate to use the word new normal. Hopefully, I don't think there's anybody in this room who thinks that this is normal going forward. Let's hope not. But again, the flexibility, the adaptability, because we've asked parents to become teachers in some cases while they work their full-time jobs, while they commute in many cases. We've asked teachers to take on, in other school staff to take on other responsibilities. You know, across the board, it's been a very disruptive time, but given the circumstances, you know, this is no secret that the ability to effectively respond technologically with the robust numbers that we've seen. Again, just to let that sink in for a second, 25%, roughly 25% of our population is online. If you would have said to me a year ago in January that we would be doing that, you know, and be able to do it effectively, not without issues, but however, making tremendous progress, you know, it would have been a challenge. So anyway, I just, again, echo what these gentlemen said. I really appreciate the efforts from every stakeholder involved, because everyone has been disrupted, to say the least.
It has, but we've gotten through it. We've gotten some great people. We've made some great additions, and we're battling right through. We couldn't be happier with Mr. Acton, and he sat on the back of his red truck and tailgated and watched the Lions beat the Braves last Friday night. So him and his boys. So we thank each one of you for coming out. Like you said, going further into October, hopefully our crowd starts to. We start to give some more awards away and recognize some more people for the great things that they're doing. Some of the community involvement, you know, I'm a softball coach, and we did a mom fundraiser, and Cornucopia Farms does that with us, and they've always had us down to sell about 500, and we sold 1,027 mums last week. So I didn't go into the flower business. It's to fund our softball team, but that's just the kind of people we have out there supporting the school and our functions. So with that being said, our next meeting will be October the 12th, 20.
We did let Mr. Acton make it.
Oh,
Yeah, can I say something real quick?
sorry.
And then I'll let you
I
adjourn.
thought you went first.
I'll let the other guys off the hook, but I mentioned someone. We got a proud dad on up here. We have someone that is in rare territory. Aiden Minton is a National Merit semifinalist. That's a huge accomplishment. Personally, a huge accomplishment for that family. He's in the running to be a National Merit scholar. So it's a tremendous accomplishment, but talks a lot about him as an individual, his family. But it's also a tremendous accomplishment, recognition about the education that he has received at Salem Community Schools. So a testament to a whole bunch of people, and we are pushing for him to get that next honor. And I know that has some financial implications, so I'm hoping for Mr. Minton and family that happens. But I'll let the other guys off the hook, so that's all I want to say.
You want to say something before we pass on? I apologize. I thought he was
Nope.
going to say. I thought he was going to say Aiden first, and then my mind just got blocked. So I apologize, Brent.
That's all right. I will add that we just got word in the last week that we received 2 new grants, $50,000 digital learning capacity grant, and then a formative assessment grant over $18,000 there. So.
Great day. Nice one.
You got another 25,000
Another 25,000 Kenny Vincent.
We should have our general obligation bond funds by the end of the month. We got a bunch of paperwork for you and Bubba to sign tonight before you leave.
Okay.
You know, I know you guys look forward to that. And, but on another note, just like to say that the facility managers in our district, Joe England, Ken Payne, Matt Gorman, and their staffs have done a tremendous job, an outstanding job keeping the buildings clean. They've had to fight the virus within their staffs. They've had to scramble, work with each other, collaborate, figure out ways to help each other, which they don't hesitate to do that. They're a team, regardless of different buildings. They were lucky to have them. It's the best bunch I've been around, and I didn't want tonight to go by without recognizing them and their efforts and their staff's efforts as well.
Yeah, the quarantine's definitely, it's affected a lot, well, each one of our buildings and our maintenance building as well, as it has some of our homes. We also ask that you keep Erica in your thoughts and prayers. She didn't tune in tonight. If you didn't notice, she's not feeling well. So be thinking about her as well. Next, anybody got more comments? Next meeting, October 12th, 2020. Can you get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Bubba makes that motion. All those in favor?